everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and thank you so much for watching. And so today I want to do a review video talking about the new JACLYN Hill and Morphe Vault collection. So this is going to be a review. I'll do some swatches and a demo using some of the palettes that is coming at the end of the video. I'll put a timestamp on the screen if that's all you're interested in. And I actually filmed that like a few days ago, so I'll be in a completely different outfit, so just so you know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like review videos like this, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see my thoughts and swatches and demo using the Vault collection, then just keep on watching. So before I begin, for reference, this is the original Morphe and JACLYN Hill palette, and it looks like this, and there's just a lot of warm tones, and then your pops of color down here. There's like some deeper, like, oh, it's not really black, but like deep browns, deep purples, and there's two shimmer shades, like highlighting shades up here. This is an amazing palette. I think this is a staple in everyone's makeup collection, and it gives you everything you could possibly need. If I had to get rid of all my palettes and only keep one, this is the one that I would keep. I have like a few other palettes from Morphe, and for some reason the JACLYN Hill palettes are like a whole separate formula, and these are the best formulated eyeshadow palettes that I own for, you know, an affordable palette. This one I think costs somewhere between $36 or $38. I don't really remember. But some of the complaints about this palette was that there's no mirror, which if there was, it definitely would have upped the price a lot. And the other thing is that nowhere on like the back or the front under the shadows it doesn't list the names. It came with a card that listed all the shadow names, so I've lost that a long time ago, and I know she came out with repackaging that does have all the shade names on the back, but this is just the first version that I have. So despite that, I don't really care about those two things, so that was irrelevant to me. So moving on to the Vault collection, I wrote down like a ton of notes so I don't forget anything. So these shadows are supposed to be the extra shadows that were put away in the Vault because, you know, they didn't fit into this original palette. So first, starting off with the packaging, this is the outer box, and it's just all white. Has the Morphe JACLYN Hill, says the Vault up top, same thing here, and on the back just has her little message and a picture of her to her subscribers. And you just open it up, and then it's the same thing. It comes like in this carton that has the same type of packaging as the outer box does. Oh, and all four palettes just fit in here, so I really actually like this concept. I love that the box that comes in, it's really good for storage of these palettes, and just for like display of them. I keep these like just right on my vanity, and they're just displayed like this, and then I can like see on the spines which palette I want to use, because it has the names of all of them down here, and it's also written in the shade of whatever the color story of the palette is. So yeah, this is just a really sleek, chic, pretty design, and it's really, these are the four palettes. These are really like pretty sturdy packaging. I'm assuming it's good for travel. It's just a magnetic, opens up here. And one thing that these palettes did include, this one is the Bling Boss palette, is they now have a mirror, and they also have all the shade names right up front. So I know there was some controversy over the design on these palettes is very similar to the design on her face palette with Becca, which they are incredibly similar. And I mean, allegedly Becca is suing Morphe or something, I don't know. I actually have no details on that drama, and I don't really care. So, you know, they are similar, but this is kind of like JACLYN Hill's brand. This is like the design of everything she does. She always does something very similar to this. So I don't know how that works out, you know, but I don't know. I don't want to get into that. I don't know details. But I just wanted to point that out, that yeah, these are like identical. So I was originally planning to do some swatches, but the lighting in my room is just awful. So I did try, and it didn't work out very well, and you can't really see anything, and I don't want people thinking like, oh, well, they just don't swatch well, which isn't the case. It truly is. I have no lighting set up, and there's not even a whole lot of daylight coming in here. I just have the big lamp in my room. So maybe one day I need to seriously invest in some sort of ring light or something, because this is difficult. But anyways, this is the Bling Boss palette, and this one has a purple color story. Some of the standout shades in this for me was Berry Treasure. This is a very, very unique shade. It has like glitters in it, and it has like, it's like a black with a purple undertone with a lot of pretty glitters in it. You can see that there. You probably can't see it. Another really good one for me was Sparks. This is just like a really nice matte, deep reddish burgundy shade, and I love shades like this, so I really love that one. I have been using this palette a few times, and I really love it, and I don't actually have like a whole lot of colors like this, so this is definitely a really unique palette to add to my collection, which is what I'm always looking for. The quality of these shadows are very similar to the quality, they're the same quality as this original palette. Some of them are a little inconsistent. I can't remember if it's Glitz and Glam or Ballsy, which kind of comes off on my brush when I go to use it as very almost like crumbly, but it's like, it's workable. Like, there are, I will say there are inconsistencies in the palettes that I have, but none of these palettes are a dud. They are all very workable. So moving on to this next one is the Armed and Gorgeous palette, and another thing about the packaging is in all the little like pizzazz going around here, it has little specks of color that goes with the color story. So this one's a very warm tone palette. I haven't really used this one too much, but a standout shade is VIP. This is just a really bright highlight shade, and it's great in the inner corner. So I love these kind of like orange shades that, like, I love using those on my eyes and doing like an orange brown smoky eye. That's kind of like my go-to look. So this isn't really anything different than what I have, but I do really like this palette. And this one had some inconsistencies too. Some of the mattes just were a little chalky, I would say, and just not quite as pigmented as all the mattes in this one are. But again, still very workable. So next is the Ring the Alarm palette. So again, this isn't anything unique to my collection. I have a lot like this, but this is my favorite one because these are my tones. I love, like I said before, I love the orange shades, I love the red shades. Those definitely complement my eye color best. So I really gravitate towards this palette. If I were to only buy one instead of buying the vault, I would probably buy this one. a really standout shade for me is Lolly and Bomb Ass. These look really, really gorgeous on the lid. Her formula for shimmer shades is one of, if not the best that I've ever tried in any palettes. Some of them do need to be applied with a wet brush, but most of them go on so creamy and so pigmented and so blinding and just delicious, and they truly are just so good. And then the last palette in the collection is the Dark Magic palette, and it looks like this. Again, this is actually something that is very unique to my collection. I was glad to see the shade here, Poof. It's just a basic cream shade. This is something that I felt was missing from the original JACLYN Hill palette, because I always start my looks off with a shade like this, just to set down my eye primer and just start with like a clean base. I haven't really dabbled in this one too much. I did use it once, and from swatching everything, this one was probably the best quality palette. Like, there wasn't any inconsistencies in it. In mine anyways, all the mattes worked really well, were super pigmented, super blendable, same with the shimmers. So like I said, you know, even though there are some inconsistencies in some of these palettes, none of them, I wouldn't consider any of these palettes a dud. They are all very workable. All the shades are blendable, and they are pigmented. Some of them more than others, but none of them are just like not pigmented, you know? So I don't feel the need to complain about these or return them. Like, I think I got my money's worth. So speaking of money, the price of these for the entire vault is $50, and then each individual palette is $15. So based on, for $50, the quantity that you get, and each palette has 10 shades in it, so you get 40 shadows for $50. Whereas the original JACLYN Hill had, I think there's 35 shades in this, and this was like almost $40. So this is a really great price. And even the individual palette for $15 is a great price. So for what you're paying and the quality of everything, you definitely do get your money's worth, I believe. So about, just really quickly about all the controversy going around with these palettes, I really do think that the expectations put on JACLYN Hill and her collabs are just unrealistic. People expect a lot from her collabs. They expect them to be 100% perfect, and that is just unattainable. She comes very close, I would say, but you know, especially when this isn't her brand, she doesn't have complete control over every single aspect. So, you know, there's only so much she can do. But for someone who doesn't have 100% control in a collab, she does pretty damn well. But she's the only one I've noticed, when other YouTubers put out collabs, I don't see that type of pressure put on them from their fan base in the same way that JACLYN Hill has that pressure on her. So that was just something I've noticed. Those were just, you know, my thoughts and observations on that situation. Obviously, I don't know anything, so don't take anything I say too seriously. I'm just sharing my opinions. So that is it just for my review and my thoughts on this collection. But if you want to see me use these palettes and see a demo on the look that I created, I tried to use something from every single one. So I do plan on making a video for each individual palette and doing a tutorial with that. So stay tuned for that. That is coming soon, hopefully. And thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the tutorial. Okay, so I'm just going to be doing a quick look using the JACLYN Hill and Morphe Vault Collection palettes. I'm going to try and use something from all four. So it comes in this little case thing. And I got the 4 palettes, and there is the Dark Magic palette, which is actually what I'm going to start with. I'm going to take the shade Poof and use this to set my lid. I already put down an eye primer. I use the NARS eyeshadow primer. I'm really glad this collection has just a cream setting shade, because that was something that I felt was missing from the original JACLYN Hill and Morphe palette. So sticking with the Dark Magic palette, I'm going to go into this shade here, just with a big fluffy brush, and use this as my first transition shade. This one is kind of going on a little bit patchy, but there's I mean, it doesn't really matter when it's just like a transition color like this, and I'm gonna go in with other transition colors right on top of it. But I don't know, it's only on this eye right here. I can see it getting a little patchy as it kind of goes down into the lid a little bit, and like right in here. Could be because my brushes are wicked dirty right now, like I need to wash them. Now I'm going to go into the Ring the Alarm palette, and I'm going to mix the shades Rush and Mugshot and use that as my transition on top of this. I'm just going to use the same fluffy brush. This is just going to deepen up. Maybe it's because my eyes are watering that's kind of affecting the shadows a little bit, but it's always my problem. If anyone has any tips on how to get your eyes to stop watering all the time, like every time I do makeup, that'd be great. But these colors are just going to deepen up that crease and that add some depth to the transition a little bit. Now I just want to go in with one of these orange shades from the Armed and Gorgeous palette. I think I'm going to go in with Secure and just dust this all over the crease area. I'm going in with a different shade, a different fluffy brush. This is the Luxie 205, and it's a little like, kind of like duo fiber, but not really. Okay, so I'm going to take a smaller, more tapered fluffy brush and go into the Bling Boss palette and pick up the shade Sparks. Or my cat. I'm going to focus this on the outer V and then drag it in through the crease, kind of keeping it this color really low. Once I kind of lay that color on, I'm just going to go back in with that other fluffy brush I was using to put the orange shade down and kind of just blend over this. Then I'm going to take an even more precise brush. This is the Morphe M507, and go into the Dark Magic palette. A little bit of Temptress and put this on the outer corners just to deepen everything up even more. I'm literally just going to place it down just like that, and then take that other brush that I was using for the Spark shade and blend it out with that. I don't want this to be like a harsh black that's on the outer corner. I want it to kind of blend in and mesh in with everything. There's a little bit of fallout with these shadows, but it's really not much. Like, it's not that bad. This is a big time JACLYN Hill trick. I'm going to take the Morphe E47 brush and some translucent powder and just kind of like stamp this on right here to clean up the shadow that kind of like fell down. Not necessarily fall out, that's just me doing shitty blending, but I'm gonna go into the Ring the Alarm palette and I'm gonna pick up the shade Bomb Ass and put that all over the inner corner of the lid. This shade actually really reminds me a little bit of MAC Copper Ring, but just like a little bit more pinky. And I know that was a shade that JACLYN would talk about just all the time. Also, my brush is not wet at all. And it's going on pretty well without having to wet my brush. But I'm still just going to spread my brush with some MAC Fix Plus just to see how that will intensify everything. Oh yeah. See, just no matter how good a shimmer shadow is dry, it's always going to be better when you wet your brush. I'm just going to go back with some of the same brushes that I was using before just to kind of like blend all these colors and merge them all together so there's no like harsh lines anywhere. For the lower lash line, I'm going to go into Dark Magic and pick up the Tempera shade again and stamp this on really, really close to... Actually, I'm not going to do that. Just kidding. I changed my mind. Go into the Bling Boss palette and pick up this Buried Treasure shade and stamp this along the lower lash line. Actually, let me dust this away first. I'm only going to bring that like 3/4 of the way in because I don't want to like make my eyes look really closed. I'm going to go into the Ring the Alarm palette and pick up the shade Siren and just blend out the lower lash line with this. Just going in with a fluffy brush to blend out everything. I like to do this like keeping my eyes open just so that I can see. Oh, first I'm going to pick up that cream shade again from the Dark Magic palette and highlight my brow bone with this, and this is just going to clean up also some of the shadow that went up too far. And for the inner corner highlight, I'm going to go into the Armed and Gorgeous palette and pick up the shade Lit. So this is the final look that I created using the JACLYN Hill and Morphe Vault collection palettes. I really hoped you enjoyed this video and I hoped it was helpful for you, and I really do love these palettes. I think they're great, and I've been using them non-stop since I got them. These have been the only eyeshadow palettes that I've been using. I think the quality is there for the price. It's just an overall really, really great product, and definitely worth all the hype. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and be on the lookout for my tutorials coming using all of these palettes. I'm going to make a video for each palette. So be on the lookout for that, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.